It is a short week, but still packed with events and news here at the United Nations headquarters. The third UN Ocean Conference, co-hosted by France and Costa Rica, is set to take place in Nice, France. Ambitious goals are expected, but the real question is, can they actually be implemented? Will there be any mechanisms to ensure the outcome of this declaration can be executed?
As you rightly observed, that we don't have a specific mechanism in this draft outcome document to monitor the implementation. But perhaps you also notice that every 3 years we would have this regular UN event to review the progress on implementation, and also we will draw the lessons on the implementation process. So that I hope that our member states will certainly accelerate the implementation based on their voluntary commitments.
This Thursday marks the International Day of UN Peacekeepers. To honor the occasion, the Secretary General laid a wreath at the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. What does Jean-Pierre Lacroix, Under Secretary General for Peace Operations, have to say about the current state of peacekeeping missions? Cost effectiveness. For us, maybe it's two words, cost and effectiveness, and these are dilemma. If you lower the cost, how can you keep the effectiveness at the same level? Do you worry? Are you going to cut the numbers of staffers out there? Are you going to shrink the existence? How are you exactly going to do that?
If we can use drones to observe situation in a given area, then you save a lot of money, because instead of sending heavy sort of vehicles with a lot of people and costs a lot of money, and it's also putting at risk the peacekeeper, then you just use the drone and it saves a lot of money. It's as efficient. It has to be just a very important part of our effort, and yes, cost effectiveness, but ultimately in terms of making sure that we deliver as best as we can on the mandate.
Also this week, the Security Council held a briefing on the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. Sigrid Kaag, the UN's interim special coordinator for the Middle East peace process, issued a stark warning. Palestinian Ambassador Riyad Mansour also broke down in tears during his statement. And the briefing wasn't the only development. On the first day of the aid delivery through the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Fund, chaos erupted. Reports say that 47 people were injured by gunfire as the operation went out of control. So what does the UN have to say about all this?
The system that we had, right, was not perfect. Nothing in Gaza is perfect. We're not claiming that. But it's a system that worked, and we saw how it worked during the ceasefire.
Wouldn't you feel it would be better if you incorporate with Gaza Humanitarian Fund so that this chaotic thing couldn't happen?
It's not a matter of us crossing our arms saying we're not
well,
going to
you're
cooperate.
experienced.
What we are saying is that for us, humanitarian aid needs to be distributed in a way that is safe under principles of independence, impartiality, in the way we've always done it.
And there is also a familiar scene, a blame game between Israel and the United Nations.
As we speak, there are more than 400 trucks already on the Gaza side of the fence, waiting to be distributed. But the UN has failed to pick them up. We opened the crossings, we provided safe routes for those trucks, but the UN did not show up.
Does the UN believe that Israel is purposefully hampering the efforts of the UN humanitarian operation?
Look, you have to ask them what their motivation is, but I can tell you they sure ain't making it easy for us.
The UN is using threats, intimidation, and retaliation against NGOs that choose to participate in the new humanitarian mechanism.
When was the last time we threatened anybody?
So you denied it, right?
We're not in the business of threatening people. I mean, when did you'll understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to go any further. We're not a threatening organization. Unfortunately, sometimes.
Meanwhile, in other news, in January, Nawaf Salam resigned as president of International Court of Justice after being nominated as Lebanon's prime minister. On Tuesday, Mahmoud Dafallah Hamoud was elected to the court through a parallel and independent voting process held simultaneously in the General Assembly and the Security Council, both by secret ballot. The interesting twist, since it's a parallel process, the Security Council had to pause and wait for the General Assembly to finish counting its votes. And here is what the diplomats did during the pause. And that's all from me.